Hey everybody, this is Jamie Steelman with Team Steelman Mortgage. Thanks for joining us today. We have a special guest in studio, and that is Amanda Howell. And I'm going to give her just a minute to say hello, introduce herself, and talk a little bit. So thanks for being with us, Amanda. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Jamie. It's a pleasure to be here.
Of course, of course. So tell us just a little bit about who you are, what you do, all that kind of good stuff.
Okay. Well, I'm Amanda Howell from Amanda Howell Agency, a local marketing agency for small businesses, helping them create aha moments for small businesses. Aha moment is an Amanda Howell moment, like a blink, like an aha, like a light bulb.
I get
Something
it.
that they need, someone they want to meet, someone they want to connect with, or get their business to the next level. So each one is a customized strategy that we work with, talking about who to connect with, how to get in front of people. And we call it boots on the ground marketing is kind of what it is. So very face-to-face, a little bit of social media, a lot of bit of talking, a lot of public appearances and things like that. So it's like a PR marketing firm in Rutherford County. And we're expanding a little bit into some other counties as well.
Cool. So how long have you been doing that?
I've been open for a little over a year now.
Okay.
And it's been great. It's been wonderful.
Cool. History in doing that, or tell us a little bit about like what you did before. What drove you to start your own agency?
I love telling this. I come from education.
Okay.
So I spent years in education helping market schools and worked in the private school sector and the administration side.
Okay.
I worked for the Board of Ed in HR and recruitment and tried to help brand that and get that. So business development's always been there. I worked for a private company as well, doing their marketing and business development and trying to get them out there. So a love of education and marketing and just a personality that's extroverted to the nth degree.
Gotcha.
And I made a joke about 10 years ago that if I could serve the community and do the nonprofit work and represent small businesses and still make a living, I would do it.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to frame it up, didn't know what it would look like. And last year I had the beauty and the pleasure of having that dream come true. It took a lot of work. So people are like, oh, it was instant success. No, it was not instant success.
Is there any success that's instant? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think that's a thing. I think people see it's like a glacier. They see the tip top. They don't see the work that went down below. So it took about 10 years to formulate and come up with the plan and an idea and turn it into a reality. And that's what we've done. It's been amazing, actually. The goal was 20 clients in the first year, and I had 20 clients in the first 14 days. So.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing.
Yep.
That
and
is
I'm up to
amazing.
33 right now. So.
Wow. And only been a year.
Only been a year.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So I always kind of joke about, you said extremely extroverted.
Yeah.
So I was the exact opposite when I was younger. And then I got into mortgage business, and they're like, you got to talk to people. And now I'm like trying to record videos and doing all this stuff. And people that I know are like, it's so weird to see you like outwardly just talking to people because you are so quiet. Like high school and stuff going way back. They're like, you were kind of like that guy just like went where he was going, didn't barely say anything to anybody, didn't talk. And and now I'm like out there trying to say hello to everybody because everybody might need help. Everybody might need a client. So.
Well, and everybody's your client because everybody needs a home. So, yeah.
And then I've learned, which has been really cool, of coming out of being a little bit so introverted, through Give Life for Ryan and stuff that we do, aside from mortgages.
Yeah.
You can't find people that need help or that need to know stuff if you're not connected to other people.
Exactly. Connections are everything, but you have to talk to do that.
Yeah, so. You do have to be out there and put yourself out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So are you from around here? Kind of what's your personal background?
I moved from Florida here in June of 2021. I didn't know a single person. So that was something that was interesting, was to build and cultivate relationships in a place that I didn't know anybody. This is not Florida by any means. I like flaky fish and water and boating and all that stuff. So leaving that behind to come to the mountains is what I told my friends. I'm moving to the mountains, which we're kind of not really in the mountains, but I didn't know that. Has been a journey in and of itself to learn what's important and the values of this community because it's different than what we have back home. So I make the joke that I moved here June 7th of 2021 and I was networking June 7th of 2021. Like I literally just threw myself into everything to learn what was important and to learn where can I be of service, because I think it's our duty as people to serve the community that we live in. And I joined United Way instantly and started working with them and volunteering and joined a board with them and did things with them. the Chamber of Commerce and all that. And so I really just kind of poured myself into the community, which is what I did back home. I was like, that's what I know how to do. That's what I can do. And I wanted to build friendships and relationships, and I felt that was the easiest way to do that. So
that's really cool, because that's what I've heard about you. So I know we haven't known each other a long time, but like when we go to like chamber meetings and everything, they're like, I don't know how she goes to everything that she goes to. I don't know how she's involved in this and that, and I don't know how she keeps up. So that's what I've heard. It's just like, you are involved in a lot of stuff.
I am. I serve on a lot of board of directors. I do a lot of volunteer work. I pretty much don't do anything unless it gives back to a charity. So you're going to see me at every event, because I know that my money goes back to support something. Yeah. I don't sleep a lot. I have a toddler. I have a 2-year-old.
Wow.
Who's amazing, and he's currently auditioning for Jackass. We're just waiting to hear back if he gets accepted or not.
Any day now.
Any day now, they're going to take him and help me out. He's wild. He lives with, just like mommy. He's fearless and just the greatest part of my life. And he keeps me on my toes. He keeps me tired. A lot of people I don't know how you're a mom running a business and doing everything. I don't know either. If I could write it down, I would. If I could give you a secret formula, I would.
Yeah.
Authenticity and exhaustion are the two things.
Yeah, and boys are, so I had 3 boys. And, when they're young, if you have boys, you understand. If you didn't have boys, like the whole, people say, oh, they have no fear. Like, you have no idea if you have one of these boys.
No fear.
Yeah.
None.
I mean, jumping off of stuff, running over stuff. Yeah, unbelievable stories that I have from my boys when they were little, and how we didn't make more trips to the hospital, have more broken bones than we did is a miracle, because boys are fearless when they're young sometimes older.
He's just, I don't know if it's ever going to go away. Like, his spirit is wild. He lives with reckless abandon. Like, he has a chair that he's decided, if I turn it over, it's a slide. Or I can drag it across the room, climb that, jump here, and go over here. He does parkour in my living room. And he's only 2.
Awesome.
He's been this way since he was a year, so I have a long road ahead of me.
You have so much to look forward to. I mean, especially my oldest, Ryan. He was just unbelievable. I mean, no fear of anything. And like you said, always seeing, what else could I turn this into? Or how could I use this to do that? And it was kind of like, situations would happen, and we'd be like, how did you even,
the way
we get here?
Yeah. Well, his brain at 2 years old, I'm like, how did you put these steps? Like, I don't understand how you got from here to here. And he'll get his toys and use all of them, or he'll drag the stepladder over and use the stepladder. I'm like, bro, I don't even know. I don't even know.
Yeah. Just wild. It's fun. It's
absolutely
fun.
wild. So that's my life in a nutshell: work, community service, and talent.
Very cool. Well, on the topic of work and some of the stuff you said that you're involved in, what are some causes that are kind of special to you? I know you said you're on a lot of boards and stuff. But just talk about a little bit, about what you're involved in and kind of what causes are special to you.
Well, number one, the most important cause to me that I would like to say, I think they're all important, but the one that rings true for me, Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Center, a survivor. And for me, I feel like that is just something that I can never, I can't be grateful enough for that, for what they do, the work that they do. And how we help survivors. It's not talked about a lot. It's an ugly thing to talk about, and it's uncomfortable. So I like to bring out the uncomfortable. I think you have to be comfortable talking about the uncomfortable with that. So I do that. I do Minutes Wisely, which helps veterans. We like to send them to NFL games and hockey games and events to try to help their mental state. So when they go out and they go to these events and they travel, it just really lights them up. So that's something that's very near and dear. Junior League in Murfreesboro is a fantastic organization that I love to work with. I help with Journey Home, Child Advocacy Center in Rutherford County. Wow. Oh my goodness, the list.
You really just don't have much going on. Right?
I don't have a whole lot going on in my life right now.
Some great causes, great things.
I was going to say the list could go on and on, but those are the main ones right now that I'm really focusing my energy on.
Yeah, very cool. Well, speaking of, being a survivor and that kind of stuff, is there anything that you could share with us that, would help other people kind of, your story of why that's so important to you, how you got there and what?
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing that people need to know, it's not your fault, number one. You didn't choose that crime, that you didn't choose the actions of that person. That was someone who did that to you and you didn't deserve it, but there's a way out. I felt trapped for many years. I spent 5 years in that relationship because of who he was. He was a very powerful individual in our community. He was a well-respected psychologist, and I didn't think anybody would believe me. And that's the other thing. You are believed, you are heard, and your story is your story, and no one can take that from you. Going through that has put me where I'm at, to where it is my job now to be a flashlight in someone's darkness. I have to use that darkness to light it up for others and let them know you can survive, you can get out. It may not be as pretty as you think it is. It's not going to be a clean escape. It's not going to be flowers and rainbows. It's going to be a lot of work, but you can get out. And there is help for you. The Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Center in Rutherford County, we have that. And that is, in and of itself, is amazing. I didn't have that back home. I didn't know that was a resource. So for me going through that, I went through it completely alone. I didn't talk about it. I was working in administration at a school at the time. I was public, just like I am now, very everywhere. I didn't want people to see me and shame me. I didn't want people to know. But it was really hard to start hiding it.
Yeah,
the physicality of it. I ended up with a broken orbital socket, a broken nose, broken jaw, had 2 cracked teeth. My ear was messed up. Just all the things. Like, I'm trying to think of all and that was just in one situation.
Oh my gosh.
I was beat inside of a vehicle to where I couldn't get out. That's why he did it in a car. Driving down the road. Like,
wow.
He just snapped driving down the road. And, we were leaving an event and it happened.
Yeah.
And, that's the thing that you don't think about. It can happen in a car. It can happen in a house. It can happen any kind of way, anywhere.
Sure.
And it can happen to anyone, not just women. That's another thing. That's a misconception that people have. Okay. It happens to men. And for men, it's very different. It's a that's a vulnerable thing for them. A lot of men don't want to come forward. There's a lot of shame that goes with that.
I'd imagine so. Yeah.
A lot of embarrassment. So people need to understand it affects anybody. Children, adults, men, women, doesn't matter. It doesn't discriminate race. It doesn't discriminate stature, status, body shape, size. It is all across the gamut. It doesn't matter how much money you make, how much money you don't have. It is not a crime that happens in only certain neighborhoods. It is everywhere all the time. 1 in 4 people experience it. 1 in 4. Whether you know it or not.
Yeah.
So when you're out and about and you're in a room full of people, 1 in 4. Think about that statistic. Let that marinate in that for a minute. Yeah. And maybe they talk about it. Maybe they don't. Most of them suffer in silence.
Sure.
And I did for a very, very long time until I couldn't.
You said years.
Years. 5 years.
Wow.
5 years and 12 major occurrences that required medical treatment. So you can't just walk away sometimes.
No, and that's what I was thinking in my head while you were talking, just trying to figure out, like you said, so many people are dealing with that and they're trying to figure out what to do. And there's these great resources. If somebody's in that situation, what is kind of step one if they're, and I'm sure the circumstance varies because the level of physical and emotional danger that you're in, what is kind of that first step where somebody goes, do you have to be ready to pick up and just run and get away from everything, or is there what is that first step to try to get someone else involved to be an advocate for you?
Right. I think it's different for everybody. Every abuse situation looks different. Some of them are doctors and lawyers and it's happening behind the closed doors and it's covered up, and there's a fear of financial security that if you leave, where do you go? There's a fear of being believed, which is a huge thing. Is anybody going to believe me? There's the fear of shame. Oh, I let this happen to me. No, you didn't. And you did not let this happen to you. That was somebody that chose that action, not you. There's ways, some people can just run out. They pack a bag and they leave. And that's great. There are people like me who couldn't do that. Where was I going to go? What was I going to do? How was I going to get out? There are people who strategically put plans in place. I love when I hear those stories. Those are great. They made plans to leave. There are people who have code words with friends, and I think that's very important. With one of my friends, we came up with a code word. It said, "Hey, is the mascara still on sale?" And she didn't sell makeup.
Right.
I didn't sell makeup, but our way of communicating was if I asked her if she still had mascara for sale, she would say yes. And that would be our code for get me help.
Gotcha.
So that she would know, okay, something's going on.
Yeah.
Because she didn't, makeup had nothing to do with it. It was just an easy way to put it into a conversation. There was a movement a few years ago of people with a black dot on their hand if they show you their hand. There's a movement that you can do with your hand behind your back if you need help. There are so
I've
many.
seen a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different things that people can do to ask for help. There's a story of a lady who went to a veterinarian with her dog that was sick. And she wrote a note and slipped it when she was coming back from the bathroom.
Yeah.
So it looks and presents in so many ways.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going through it, let somebody know. in some kind of way. If you can text someone that you need help, don't call them. If that's scary for you, take them to lunch. If you're at work, there's got to be somebody to help you, but you have to get the help. You have to really lean on your village, lean on your people.
And I guess there's a big responsibility from people on the outside, like myself, if you're not going through something like that at that moment, to notice those signs or to, make sure that you communicate. We were talking about networking and being around people. I mean, just communication alone to know if somebody needs help, they feel like they can reach out to you.
Absolutely. And like I said, it happens to everybody, or not everybody, but anybody. It can happen to anyone, people you're in a room with.
Yeah.
You would never know that it happened to me unless I told you.
Sure.
So having those open lines of communication, and if you are being abused, let go of the shame, let go of the stigma, let go of the fear, and find a way to get help. Whether it's talking to your friends and code that you worked out. I personally have words that I use for safety with friends that I've communicated, and they know, hey, this is what that means. Doing that, really just examining your situation from a lens of how to get out.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. That's fine. Call me. I'll give my phone numbers everywhere. Call me. I'll help you. If you don't want them to know that you're talking with someone, there are ways to do that too. Yeah. There are ways to get out to where you don't live in that fear.
And going through that yourself and now looking back and being an advocate for yourself, and others, is there, what finally made you get help? Because you said you put up with it for so long. And was it an outside force? Mm-mm. Was it just internally you finally said, I'm done?
I'd had enough.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha.
There was an evening at home. We were fighting about, I don't even remember. Everything turned into an argument. Everything was a fight. Mm-hmm. And he got in my face and started yelling and screaming. And I just remember standing there going, this is my life. This is no longer what I want. And nobody knew it was happening because I kept it a secret from everybody.
Right.
And when I had broken bones or messed up face, I made up an excuse. I would say that I was robbed. I would say that I was attacked in the street, or you come up with things to cover up your story because you don't know what to do. And you don't want that person to be hurt, even though they're hurting you. That's a whole nother emotional level.
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole we can't go down, but we don't have the time. But so with that, we were standing face to face, and he was yelling and screaming and spitting and doing all the things that had become normal to me. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing what a normal can become, what you put up with.
Yeah.
And I just stood there and I was thinking in my head, there has got to be more than this. I deserve better than this. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't this great, I would love to say that it was this great, come to Jesus moment. It kind of was, but I kind of just remember standing there looking at him, and I told him to stop. Yeah. And he goes, what are you going to do? Hit me back? At this point, yes. Yeah. So I drew an invisible line on the ground, and I said, if you cross this line, we're both going to die, and we're both going to get hurt. And he goes, ooh, kind of mocking me.
Yeah.
And which is what they do. Mm-hmm. And I remember he pushed me on the bed, and I'm like, nope, not anymore. We're done. And I fought back. Yeah. I fought back with everything that I had, and I got arrested. Mm-hmm. I called the cops on myself, actually. Right. Okay. That's a story that a lot of people know. But I told them, I said, hey, I scratched him. I got him off me, but you need to come get me. Yeah. And they did, and I was arrested, even though he was the one committing the crime. But that's what it took for me to get out, was for me to to call on myself and call the cops and say, hey, I hurt him. So they would come, and then when they came, they arrested me and took me away. Yeah. And I was in jail, and it was the most terrifying experience of my life. I bet. But to say that I felt safer in a jail than I did at home is a statement that I don't like to say, but it is the truth.
Yeah, it's very telling.
Yeah. So they took me in, and he was free, out and about. Mm-hmm. And then I was able to, I fought the courts for about 8 to 12 weeks. I lost my job. I mean, it was really a hard time. I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't do anything. But I knew that I was fighting for my freedom. Yeah. And it took that for me to be able to get out. He's still walking around, but the agreement was just let me be. I just want my life. That's all I wanted. Yeah. But it took me calling on myself, going to jail myself, and going through that to be able to get away.
To move forward.
Yeah. And it was that night, and I knew when I called, I knew my life was never going to be the same. Yeah. But I knew that I had to get out. It was me or him. Mm-hmm. And I didn't want that. I mean, nobody wants that. But at the end of the day, it's what I had to do to survive. So that's another thing as a survivor. don't judge anybody. You don't know what their story is. You don't know what they did to survive. You don't know what it took for them to get out.
Yeah.
And I mean, mine is much deeper than that, but the essence of it was calling and going to jail.
Yeah. And that's what I was just sitting here thinking about is I think that's so important to know that you finally got the strength to do it, because I think I've heard so many conversations of people that say things like, I wouldn't put up with that. Why would you stay if that's happening to you? Exactly. Like if that happened one time, I'd be so out of there. And like you talked about the financial trap of it, the status of, of the community and how people see how your own family would see you or something going on.
All the things.
So I think it's so easy for people to go, I would never tolerate that. I would never let anybody treat me that way. But
but it doesn't start that way.
There's so many forms of it and so many ways. And once you wake up one day and realize where you are, like you said, you'll be surprised what you think is normal.
Right.
And I think that goes with a lot of situations, but especially in something like, domestic abuse and that kind of stuff is there's so many things. I even compare it to like when I see young people having kids, like they say like, this is how it's going to be when I have kids. And
guilty.
I mean, everybody does that, but there's so many situations that people say, I would do this. I would never tolerate that. I would do this immediately.
Yeah.
And it's not how the real world really works or how situations progress and you're in them.
And the other thing, it doesn't always start with hitting.
Right.
Someone's not going to just walk up and give you a black eye. That's not how that works.
That's
There's
not
a love
how the introduction goes.
Right.
Yeah.
You meet each other and you're dating and everything's wonderful and everything's great. That's how it starts.
Sure.
It starts from a really innocent place of, hey, I like this person, they like me. And somewhere down the road, it's shifted. And that's what happened. Yelling turned into screaming, and screaming turned into spitting, and spitting turned into hitting. And so it progresses, and there are little signs that you can see, but sometimes you can't see them until you're at the end of it. And you're like, wow, if I could have put that puzzle together, if I would have had all the pieces, but you don't have the pieces. You have what you have in front of you. And okay, he spit on me today, because that's how mine started.
Okay.
He spit in my face. And I was like, okay, well, that's not anything that I like, but I love him. He's mad. He's angry. You reason it away. He's drunk, whatever. And then the next time it's a push. Oh, maybe he didn't mean to do that. Oh, he didn't mean to do that. And you start putting things in, and it just progresses. It just keeps going. It starts with little bitty things. He cheated on me, and I found out about it, confronted him, and he goes, I'm going to do it again.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I stayed, because in my head, it'll go away. I can love them enough. If I love him enough, it won't happen.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that goes with it too. So it doesn't always start. That's what I tell people. Some people, it starts with hitting. Most of the time it does not. It starts with little bitty disrespects, little bitty things. And over time, it just builds to this. So there's precursors to that. You just have to recognize within yourself, like, okay, and then, I would never put up with that. There's a lot. You don't realize how much you put up with sometimes.
There's a lot of stuff in all areas of life that people say they won't put up with. Different things. And
don't judge. You don't ever know. Ever know. Because mine started it was just a simple, I was like, oh, that's different. I don't like that. But okay. And I reasoned it, because that's what we do as people. We reason, we want to see the best in others. So we reason it away as, oh, he was drinking. Oh, he didn't mean that. Oh, he didn't mean that.
Sure.
And then all of it just keeps compounding and pounding. And then finally one day you're like me, you're like, I guess I got to go to jail to get out of here.
Yeah. It's time.
And I laugh about it, and it's not to make it comical. It's just, for me, it's still disbelief.
Yeah.
It's just a disbelief that, wow, this is, that I'm sitting here talking to you today because of a decision that I made.
Yeah. And if you didn't know what was going to lead you to be in a position that you had to do something like that, I can't imagine going through that. It's really powerful. To know that's,
and that's what I tell people. I've actually spent 3 days, I was Baker acted. If you don't know what that means, it's 72-hour mental hold.
Okay.
They can take you and put you in a facility, mental health facility, because he called, and because of who he was, said that I was having ideations and thoughts. And they came and picked me up and had me arrested. They did not listen to me at all because of him, and said, well, Dr. So-and-so said this, or he said this, and we believe him which is unethical to sign, for him to sign that for his spouse, but he did it anyway. And they took me in, and they put me in this room. It was I will never forget the smell of the concrete. They put you in a white outfit, paper outfit, with no strings, no nothing. They put me in there with people who were not okay.
Sure. Yeah.
And the furniture was plastic. I remember the smell of it. I remember there were people detoxing. There were people coming off drugs. There were people who actually had these thoughts. And I'm sitting here absolutely panicked. They would squeeze shampoo into your hand, and they like wash you for you.
Wow.
And it was a whole experience and trying to convince them that I didn't need to be there was falling on deaf ears. And I finally I was getting angry, and I remember I was coloring with people because that's what you do. You don't have anything else to do. They wouldn't let me outside because he labeled me a risk. So I'm sitting inside coloring, panicking, and I'm praying the whole time, like, God, they're going to put me away. I think that's where the idea came from for me too. Like, it might take me being locked up to get out of here. So I served out of the 72 hours. They evaluated me, and I finally was released after 24 hours. I had a doctor come in, an outside physician came in and examined me and said, "You don't need to be here." But that was my moment to say something, and I didn't. I just simply kind of went along with it because I'm like, I don't want to get him in trouble. And I kind of hinted at some things.
Sure.
Like, I don't need to be here. He did this and he did that. And
that wasn't the breaking point.
That wasn't that. It should have been.
Right.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
But I also didn't feel believed. So for me, I was like, I just want to get out of here.
Yeah.
Like, and then fast forward to the last night of it, I remember I'm like, okay, I had an out then. I could have told somebody and I didn't. I went right back into that situation, right back into the fire, right back into the pit, because that's what I did. And I remember, okay, if I can get out of here. And I did. I went to jail, and I sat in that jail thinking, wow, this is the second time that I'm put away.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I'm going to end up this way for the rest of my life if I don't do something different. And that's when I started telling my story, was when I got out of jail. I'm like, nope, this is never, ever going to happen again. And it took me getting out of jail from the time that I got out of jail to the time we broke up. And I finally escaped was about maybe a year and a half.
Yeah.
It took that long to get it all done.
And maybe in my crazy brain, I'm like, you were probably this close to being trapped in the system. And them starting to believe
that I'm the problem
instead of you. Until you could have gone down a point of no return.
Yeah. It's a heavy thought when you think about that. When you sit in that for a second. And I do. And I remember sitting in that jail like, this can't happen again. They're not going to believe me. And that was that point of, okay, you are going to get lost. I am going to end up somewhere for the rest of my life that I don't deserve to be.
Yeah.
Because of the love that I have for someone who doesn't love me back.
Wow.
And the lack of love for myself was just non-existent. I didn't care for myself. I didn't treat myself good. And I remember, and being in jail is such a hard thing that people don't understand, especially when you don't need to be there.
Right.
The girl underneath me had stabbed somebody. Yeah. The girl across from me had killed somebody. The girl over here had, I can't remember what she did, but it was something that I was just like, oh my goodness, that needs to stay over here. And they would steal my food. Like, it was horrible. And I thought to myself, if I don't do something, I'm going to end up here for the rest of my life. This is where I'm going to be. This is where I'm going to be.
Wow.
And they took my food, they took my socks, my bananas, all that stuff. And I remember I didn't want to shower, I didn't want to go to the bathroom, I didn't want to eat. But you can't do that in jail because then they're going to put you on a watch, which is even longer of a hold. So I was learning, the fact that I was learning the system, learning what I had to do. So I would have to and I had to make friends with these people. And I'm like, how am I going to do that? And I prayed and I prayed and I was like, God, I can't do this. And that's when he's like, remember who you are.
Yeah.
Your personality. And I did. And to say that I made friends in jail is so funny, but that's what I had to do to get out.
Yeah.
And so that's what I want to tell people out there. It may not look conventional to get out. It may not be as simple as getting a suitcase and walking out a front door. It probably won't. It might look like me going to jail, making friends and playing along on a role just to be able to be safe. But whatever that looks like for you, it doesn't matter what it looks like. Just get out. Like, that's the biggest thing that I can say. No matter what it looks like. If it's not pretty, if it's ugly, it doesn't matter. Just get out. Just get out.
Yeah. Great advice. Well, I really appreciate you sharing all that because it's a lot.
It is. It's a lot of heavy.
I know it's tough. So let's talk a little bit about something that's coming up that has to do with that. So you've got an event coming up that you're a part of, and how can we help or how can we be a part of it? Well,
people don't like to talk about this either, but there's a lot of funding cuts for nonprofits that are happening, and we will lose resources. The Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Center is in very dire need of assistance. Okay. So we have an event coming up on April the 10th called Show Your Till at the Fountains. It's on the top floor of the Fountains on Gateway and Medical Center, if you know where that is in Rutherford County. We have that event. Tickets are on sale right now. and it's called Show Your Till, and I am the featured speaker that day. I will be sharing all of my story for the very first time. I've told tidbits here, tidbits there, but this will be the first time. It's going to be in a really dynamic, unique way. I have a close friend that's actually going to interview me and ask some really deep questions. We're going to really dive into what did it look like, how did I get out, and really just open up those spaces in a safe place. We're going to sit together and kind of go over it. So it's going to be a unique experience. Usually when you have a featured speaker, they're speaking to you for 25 minutes. I didn't want that experience. I felt like that people are not going to get the impact of me just preaching for 25 minutes telling my story. Plus, it's really hard for me to do, to stand there and be that vulnerable.
I bet.
So we came up with this idea. All the proceeds go directly to the Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Center. You can purchase a table for 8 people. You can purchase a ticket just for 1. You can purchase as many tickets as you want. And while you're there, we're going to walk around. The people are going to walk around with buckets. You can donate there.
Okay.
We're going to have QR codes and all those things. But this is a great event. It's a luncheon from 11:30 to 1. And we are really hoping to make an impact with this dynamic setup that we're going to do of actually telling a true story from somebody that you know, somebody that's been through it more than once. And we're going to kind of just dive into that and really explore. We're going to start like a 15,000 feet point view, and we're just going to really dive deep. And then, we're going to have some Q&A at the end. We're going to have a table there. It's going to be really impactful. A table that is a very somber experience. It's not a happy-go-lucky event.
Sure.
So don't come in thinking you're going to leave all happy and bubbly. Not going to happen.
Yeah.
But you are going to leave with a new respect of what the center does, how it helps survivors, and how we need your resources more now than ever. With the chances of losing funding, it's just that can't happen.
Yeah.
So we are in the fight of our lives for this. And
cool.
With April being Sexual Assault Awareness Month, we really want to hit that message home that it hits. Cool. It cuts across all lines.
Yeah.
It doesn't discriminate. Men, women, it doesn't matter. So.
And where can they go to get information on it or purchase tickets?
We have it on our Facebook as well.
Okay.
Domestic Violence Sexual Assault Center in Rutherford County has it there. It's on my Facebook, which is Amanda Howell. It's also on the Amanda Howell Agency website or Facebook, so you can find it through there. We have tickets on Eventbrite. You can look it up through there. Show Your Till, TILL. It has a little cash register, so we can put it out there. If you haven't seen it yet, I guarantee you're going to find it. We hope to have it listed in a lot of different places as well.
Very cool.
Erica Downing is our director, so she's been posting it. She does a great job there. Got to give her that shout out. Couldn't do what we do without her. She's absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. So if you know any of us, you can find it through our Facebook pages.
Perfect. Sounds like a great event. And then lastly, before we let you go, if people are wanting to build their business, talk about branding, how do they reach you?
They can find me again, Amanda Howell on Facebook, Amanda Howell Agency. My phone number is out in the world, so 904-742-8900. For business, if you need a resource or you need a safe place to talk, you can do that too. Give me a shout. I would love to talk to you about your business. Or if you're just someone who's like, hey, I don't know how to plug into the community, I would love to talk to you. If you're someone that needs help and you don't know how to get it, reach out to me, 904-742-8900.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing and being willing to talk about everything and talking about a great event.
I thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. Thanks for letting me talk about this passion project that we have and this event and a little bit about who I am.
Of course. Thank y'all for joining us, and we'll see you next time.